probably did.
He's going to have to for March.
Cat
right?
actually could have too.
Yeah, we're going to move from the NBA hardwood to the college basketball hardwood because it's the Final Four, and my Cats are in the Final Four. Kyle's ecstatic about it. I know Kyle's loving Villanova in the Final Four, man. I know we can't be more excited about it.
I mean, I'm excited that no one's going to talk about it because maybe the biggest game in college basketball history is also going on the same exact day.
That's actually a big overshadowing.
But we're first. So you won't be tired from Duke UNC. You
don't know what you're missing.
You know. But we'll move on to those two games for the Final Four, a historic one, Duke versus North Carolina, on the other side, Villanova versus Kansas. We'll talk about the more historic one first, Duke versus UNC, because if we thought the NFL scriptwriters had a good season, college basketball scriptwriters take a bow. Like I'm sure there's some way that you could
gotten better.
finagle this, but for Duke to lose in Coach K's final regular season game at Cameron and then have a chance to get vengeance in the Final Four, you can't do it any better.
Honestly, I never thought so. I feel bad for UNC because
why? They're an 8th seed in the Final Four.
Exactly. So Roy Williams left the program. The program was not that good. Hubert Davis pulls them up. They have a really good season, get the 8th seed, upset Duke, Coach K's last game. They have a great run in the tournament. And now if they lose to Duke, that's all the season will be remembered by. They lost to Duke in the Final Four in the biggest game in the rivalry's history.
But that is ultimately, either way, though, that falls, it's going to be someone is going to remember, hey, man, Coach K's last game, they couldn't get past UNC again. Or it's going to be what you said.
Right.
I just think if I was a UNC fan and I was told you could lose in the Elite Eight, Duke doesn't win the national title, or lose in the Final Four to Duke, Duke doesn't win the national title, I'd rather lose in the Elite Eight. And it's because it's one of those, like, they thought they had the leg up forever. And they could.
They could still, yeah.
I think you're feeling bad for them a little too early. It's like you're writing them off.
No, but it's like
they're still in the game, too.
You won a big bet. And then instead of just taking the winnings, you're betting it all again.
For a chance to win a bigger bet.
I know.
A bigger, and this time, actual eternal bet.
I think Matt's writing them off a little too early. They still get to play the basketball game, too.
I hope.
We can feel
and we're coming off.
Actually,
we're coming off the best game of the year for Caleb Love. We're coming off a dominant performance from Armando Bacot. Like, this team is hitting strides.
And also, so Matt's saying he feels bad for UNC if they lose. If they win, it's going to be the greatest moment in school history.
I just really don't think it's going to happen.
There's two extremes on this side.
I really hope I'm wrong. I really think Duke's just going to win it all. And I hate it.
Duke, and here's the thing. Duke, I talked about them when I talked about them being one of my most overrated teams in the tournament. I'm glad that aged very well as they're in the Final Four. I talked about I had seen very little games where all of their best players have put it together in their moments, where Paolo Banchero, AJ Griffin, Trevor Keels, Jeremy Roach have all put it together. Wendell Moore have all put it together. And then when they do every tournament game, they all put it together pretty much. And especially in this last game, to get them to the Final Four, that was the most impressive game I've seen them play all season. And yes, if Paolo Banchero plays the way he did, they win. If AJ Griffin plays the way he did, they're one of the best teams in the country, and could go on and win a national tournament.
I think they are the best team in the country.
When he plays like that, I got no argument against you.
It comes to a point, and I think I said that people were sleeping on Duke in the Final Four, or sleeping on Duke when the tournament was starting, and even I was maybe sleeping on them from what I thought. I was like, people are too low on this team. I didn't think they were going to look this good, but it does come to a point that we're like, oh, there's 3 lottery picks on that team. Oh, this is the greatest coach in college basketball history. Oh, it's his last season. They're gonna win the national championship. I mean, you could have just thought about this and maybe pieced it together. That people were a little too low on Duke going into this tournament. Come on.
I mean, when you're Duke, the target's always on your back, and people want to find ways of why you're not going to win it. And then when you do, everyone does exactly that. It's like, oh yeah, they're Duke. They're supposed to do this. Stat Matt, I'm giving you a little bit of homework. I want to know how many times Duke and UNC have been put in the same bracket in the tournament. Because, yes, college basketball scriptwriters did a very good job. I know that if I'm the NCAA and I put Duke and North Carolina, they see each other in the same region, or with a chance to see each other in the Final Four, they're gonna do it. They're gonna get there and meet. So I want to know how many times.
I don't think it's happened because I have a thing. Since 1980, Duke's made the Final Four 13 times. UNC's made the Final Four 14 times. And this is the first time they've met. So they've not done a good job.
Yeah, they've been on opposite sides.
Yeah, they've been on opposite sides every time.
And I know.
So they picked. So they picked the one year.
The year that Duke upset UNLV, UNC was on the other side of the Final Four bracket, and they lost to, I think, Kansas.
So it's been able to happen.
That was the closest they've ever got.
Right.
Of course, guys, we're bringing this up because I don't think we ever actually mentioned it, but they've never played each other in the tournament.
Right,
before.
never played each other in the tournament.
So yeah, that was the closest, Matt, 1991, where they were on opposite sides of the Final Four, would have had the shot to meet in the national championship. Closest they've ever been, didn't happen. Now we're about to get it.
I do want to say, just from a prospect, and that's, as we talked about last week, a lot of like my vantage point, Mark Williams. Guy who didn't get a ton of buzz.
Beast.
That's the third lottery pick I was talking about.
Guy who third lottery pick, and I don't think you could make the case before the tournament that he was going to be. Maybe you could. Maybe he'll be. I think
like
now
sneak him in. I think he's stamped in.
Now he is definitely over in the tournament so far. He's averaging 4 blocks per game. Like, if you bring literally nothing else outside of that at a collegiate level, you are one of the best bigs in college basketball.
I think this is going to be it's the most hyped game in college basketball history by far.
Oh yeah,
it might end up being the best game in college basketball history because when you look at their strong suits, like they both have an answer to each other for their strong suits. If I bring out Mark Williams, I can answer with Armando Bacot and vice versa. If I bring out the Duke guards, I can answer with the North Carolina guards and vice versa. If I bring out the Duke defense, I can bring out the North Carolina offensive rebounding. Like they clash. These Titans are going to clash each other in every way.
OT banger.
This is going to be a crazy basketball game. But I need picks. So Matt, who wins, Duke or UNC?
Duke.
Kyle.
Duke. I don't see like Bacot's having a good tournament. I think he runs into a wall here. I mean, they're overly relying on him. Like Caleb Love. I was at the St. Peter's game. Caleb Love was hitting shots.
Mm-hmm.
If he could come in and like do that, if he can come in and be like, all right, I'm gonna take over this game, which I don't really love college basketball players doing, but that might be their win condition.
He did it in the Sweet 16 game, right?
Yeah. So I mean, there's a road to it. I'm not counting them out. I just think Duke, like by 6 or 7 at this point, should just be favored by that much because they're better.
Yeah, we were talking, James, before. I'm gonna have my eyes on AJ Griffin as a guy who I've been doing a lot of research on. One of the most exciting, like shot maker, creator type guys that there is left in this tournament. If he has a big game, I think that it's a definite. I'm still gonna go. It feels slimy, but I just gotta pick Duke. Gotta pick Duke here.
I don't know why you feel so slimy picking Duke. The evil empire. I'm not gonna pick Duke.
Really not?
I'm gonna pick North Carolina. I think North Carolina is a team realized or a team actualized. Like I think that like they were never as down this season as people thought they were. This is a 22-23 game win team.
First year coach.
In the regular season, a first year coach, right? But they like the record never suggested that they weren't ranked or that they were really bad. They had some very questionable losses, in the regular season. But they've since bounced back, and this is how good North Carolina should have been all season. This isn't a surprise. This is just a team realized. I think they continue that. Like it's going to be like we're splitting hairs between picking Duke or North Carolina right here.
For me, the only really good team they've played this tournament was Baylor, and they really almost just completely choked.
I mean, whether
yeah.
The best team that the only good team they played is the defending national champions. Like, we're in the Final Four of the NCAA tournament. Who you beat is who you beat to get here, man.
To be fair, Duke got to see Arkansas in the Elite Eight. I don't think Arkansas is good at all. Like I mean, Texas Tech they played Texas Tech, right?
Texas Tech,
Michigan State.
Yeah. I think that
Texas
was the
Tech
game.
might be the most impressive win.
You can look at that the same way that you're looking at the UNC.
Yeah. All right, let's flip to the other side because we got to talk about this one too.
There's another game.
Crazy, right? No, Villanova versus Kansas. This is going to be a great game too. It's no storied college rivalry that has a great market chapter, but these are two programs who the past 3 to 5 NCAA tournaments have met a lot of times. Nova is coming out the beneficiary of those meetings. But
last 2 times Nova played Kansas in the tournament, they beat them and then won the
national title. So Kansas does have, I think Nova is 3 of the last 4 meetings, so Kansas does have one of those meetings, I believe, regular season at Kansas at Allen Fieldhouse in the beginning of the season. It was a tough game. But the storyline in this game is really can Nova overcome the loss of Justin Moore, which is like that was, one of the most heartbreaking things I've seen in quite some time to see Justin Moore going down with that Achilles injury. But can Nova overcome that? Can Colin Gillespie, Jermaine Samuels, and company go out and beat Kansas?
I think it's so weird right now. There's so many question marks because Nova only plays 6 players on the court at the time. So without a doubt, someone's going to have to come in and play who we just haven't seen play basketball.
Brian Antoine or Chris Archidiakono.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I think they can. I think that hurts them. Justin Moore is their second leading scorer, I believe. I think Colin Gillespie isn't really the point guard that can, take over a team by himself. That's not the game Nova plays. Nova plays their offense. Mm-hmm. They're well coached. They play good basketball. So losing a key piece like that can really throw a wrench in it. I think talent-wise, this game's still neck and neck without Justin Moore.
Me too.
But what does that team look like without him? How does this team play without him? Because we don't know.
Yeah.
They only play 6 guys. That still amazes me. Like 6 guys all play 37 minutes.
And it was 7 to start the season. Jordan Longino goes out, tears his MCL, has to have surgery right before the tournament starts. You narrow that down to 6. You lose Justin Moore. It's 5, and the combination of Brian Antoine and Chris Archidiakono are going to have to give me 5 to 10 minutes.
I'm actually so in for the Brian Antoine comeback arc.
Yeah, I need it.
I loved him in high school. He played with Scotty Lewis in Jersey.
One of the top, one of the highest,
Brian Antoine,
ranked kids coming out in his class, coming out of high school. Everyone in Villanova would love to see a Brian Antoine resurgence.
Yeah.
The game I think we get, and he's been turning it up slowly each game, is Caleb Daniels. I think a lot of focus is going to be on Colin Gillespie. A lot of focus is going to be on Jermaine Samuels from him winning the all region, the most outstanding player in the region. But, I mean, Caleb Daniels has come in. I believe he had 20 or 21 in the Elite Eight game to send him to the Final Four. Like, he's been coming off and giving such great production off the bench, and that's going to be the go-getter, bucket-getter that Nova needs in this game. And Caleb Daniels can absolutely get it. And then I also think that Kansas don't want to see Nova, man. Like, I think this
I
is
don't think anyone wants to see Nova.
This is another pace-controlling game. Like, Kansas don't want to play slow. Every team in the tournament, most teams, I'll say in the tournament, want to play fast. And Kansas, again, fits the mold of these past teams we're playing, like Michigan, like Ohio State, like Houston, where they don't want to play slow. If you slow it down, they get outside of their game. And when Kansas was struggling with Miami last week, Miami was slowing it down, using all the shot clock, getting more possessions. And Kansas was out of their element. And then it became a track meet, and then Miami
down 6 at half, and then win by 20.
47.
And do you notice how fast, how much the pace changed? Like, it was more energetic. People were running up and down the floor, and now Miami can't win in this track meet.
I actually missed the second half because I was at the same. We were driving to Philly
to the same. You had a very good reason to miss that game, but I mean, look, I don't want to overlook who and what Kansas is, because they maybe have one of the top players in the country here in Abaji, and it's going to be a challenge to really slow him down and stop him. And then, they have, other great players. Brown is really good on the perimeter. David McCormick is going to give us all sorts of problems on the inside. Like, they have a good team over there.
I think the guy who I have my eye on, and if we're talking X factors, guys who could really swing the tide, Remy Martin has been very impressive.
Out of nowhere in the tournament.
Out of nowhere, and especially the last game against Florida, only 9 points. But the 2 before that, 20 points, 23 points against Creighton and Providence, respectively. It gives him another look at guard. He is. He is.
Point guard, yeah.
I don't, like I said, it's a super casual take, but it seems to me that more talent is on.
No, Remy Martin. And Remy Martin's a player who last year had a whole lot of buzz around him. That whole Arizona State team with Josh Christopher and Marcus Bagley and everyone had a lot of buzz around them. They never kind of lived up to the hype. He transfers to Kansas in the COVID years, kind of like, this is the last chance to salvage something out of my career. Has, a decent regular season, kind of as a steady pace for Kansas, but is nowhere near this 20 per game score that he's becoming in the tournament. And that's like,
yeah, they phased him out. That was weird.
Yeah,
and they brought him right back for the.
It was. I was wondering. We were kind of wondering, is he hurt? Like, did he get benched? But then when he came back, like, you watch him, he wasn't playing like a player who got benched and then got let back in the game. Like, he came back in fine. It was weird what was going on, but that's gonna be a good one.
I think these teams are very similar, to be honest. They both can shoot the ball. Ryan Brown's one of the best shooters left in the tournament.
Yeah.
So was Colin Gillespie on the other side. So I think what we see here is
It's Christian Braun. Sorry.
Christian Braun, yeah. Ryan Braun.
I said Ryan Braun.
Yeah.
I was thinking baseball. I think
it's
baseball.
pronounced Brown. Christian. It's weird. It's spelled like that. Yeah, it's pronounced Brown. Christian Brown.
The announcers always say Braun. I refuse to pronounce that Brown.
I heard someone say Brown before,
but yeah, I mean, like, just so similar. They have big men. They have, good guard play. They have a good offense. This is going to come down to coaching and styles. And I don't think any team, I don't think these teams are going to go cold. These teams are going to go hot. I think we're just going to see two good offenses. And it's going to be probably a close one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's easier for Nova to speed up than it is for most teams to slow down. And this is Bill Self. He's a very experienced coach. He's played Jay Wright and Villanova plenty of times before. See if he knows how to adjust to it.
I think Justin Moore is unfortunately the difference, because I would have picked Villanova because I think they've had a more impressive tournament run. I think they've played better. Kansas looked shaky against Creighton, looked shaky against Providence. First half against Miami, they were really poor. Nova's really played really well, except for the Houston game where everyone played bad. But I just think losing someone like Justin Moore is going to come back to bite you when you're playing someone as good as Kansas.
Hey, man, one thing I've seen about Nova, and I'm going to defend every time you guys try to go against Nova, but the one thing I've seen is, stay the course. And Kyle, you talked about it, the system. Yes, it's tough when you pluck somebody out of that system, but the good thing about it is that thing keeps going no matter who goes in.
I've seen the same brand of basketball for 15 years now at Villanova since Scotty Reynolds.
It don't matter who's there.
It doesn't really matter.
You just got to produce when you get put in that role. So that's what it's going to be about. But official picks, go ahead. You're not going to offend me.
Kansas.
That offended me.
This one, that's funny.
Hit harder than I thought it was going to.
Although with Coach K's luck, he'd play the team with the injured player. But I'm still going to get him.
That's true.
This one's tough for me. I think Nova's better coached. I think their team as a whole is better talent. Losing Justin Moore really evens the field. If they don't lose his, points per game, I'm going to say, in the offense, he's their second leading scorer. If they don't really lose that, if they find other ways to score the basketball, I'm taking Nova easy in this game. If it does really hurt them, this is going to be a grind battle because I don't know what iteration we're going to see. I'm going to lean with Nova because I think their path to success is pretty much as simple as that. Don't let the points per game lose. They're going to play good defense. They're going to have the system there. If guys can step up and make shots, I think Nova wins the game.
Yeah. Honestly, the last point that you guys kind of made about the churning of the system is a little illuminating for this game. And because there is such a question mark over Justin Moore and who's going to fill in and how they're going to perform, history would tell you that Nova's pretty good at finding that guy, plugging him in, next man up mentality, and those guys having minimal issues. So I'm going to say Villanova as to not upset James, and we'll see how the championship falls if I can continue
both
riding with
national championships for Villanova. The key guy on that tournament run wasn't their best player.
Yeah.
It was Chris Jenkins, and then it was
Dante DiVincenzo. Yeah, who was sixth man.
Made himself some money on that.
He made himself a whole lot of money. 3 Villanova to 1 Kansas. Let's all stamp this moment in Straight Facts history where Kyle picked Villanova to win the NCAA
where
tournament.
we weren't all hating on James as well at a time.
Yeah, great day.
When your teams get brought up, mainly because they're not Philly teams, it's like
no, you do it out of spite.
I think
you do it out of spite.
I feel like Kyle got some spite in him.
Now
Picking against
James's teams.
Not against your teams. No, this Villanova was before I even knew who James was as a person.
No,
this goes way back.
So we're picking the champion too.
That's what I was gonna say. That's where I was going.
We're
not gonna be here before the champion.
I do think I'm gonna pick Villanova, but I think one thing we're overlooking a little bit is the foul trouble scenario. If Villanova stays out of foul trouble, or whoever wins that scenario is going to win the game. You put Villanova in foul trouble, you put them in a situation they very much don't want to be in because now 2 got to come off that bench, and that you just I don't even want to imagine it. So people got to stay out of foul trouble, which is hard against Kansas because they play so tough and so physical. But I'm still going to go Villanova. But yeah, we can pick champion. So it'd be
we won't be
so for you it'd be Duke versus Villanova or Duke versus Kansas.
I really hope Duke doesn't win, but they're going to because I hope they don't.
You're too much of a Philly sports fan.
Yeah, that's true. This is tough. Obviously, I'm only going to pick one team. If it's a championship that I picked, Duke, Nova, Duke. If you tell me Duke doesn't win the national championship, I'll say Nova wins the national championship.
Yeah, we gotta go.
Not in that matchup because that sounded stupid.
So
in general, if I knew Duke wasn't going to win, Nova would be the team I'd pick, but I got to pick Duke.
Yeah, you know me, I side with talent. Talent wins out. Duke has the most talent, and it blows. But there is the ending that the story writers have had in their drafts for months. Coach K walking off with the national title as Matt melts down over there at the thought of it.
They've had 40 years to plan this ending. You know they got it right.
Well, we blow up endings over here. Okay. What ending you've had in your drafts and your notes, whatever is going on over there. We rewriting history. Sorry. Go Cats. Villanova is going to take them.
Because you think you'll get in. We got to get you on the bus for the parade, dude.
I'm getting on that bus, baby.
We be on the bus.
I'm getting on that bus.
Straight fact shirt and all.
Flying the straight facts banner.
You got a reason to be on that bus. Like, you could really get on that bus.
Yeah, like it'd be an event, and I'd host the event, right?
Low key, depends.
This is my lobby right now. Anyone listening from Villanova, this is my lobby.
You got a better shot to get in that bus than 99.9% of people. Like,
I could probably point on that bus during the parade and be like, you should not be on that bus. I should be on the bus.
Here's what's really low key, and this, I don't want to get your hopes up even by saying this. All I'm saying is the guy who I do the games with for Penn has done it for 13 years, and he's got a couple championship rings.
I knew you were going to say the ring. He
got some rings. That would be crazy.
I'll trade a seat. Oh, Kyle, I'll trade a seat on the bus for a ring any day.
Of course.
You could lock me in a closet.
Do you think they give you a ring?
Nah, I don't know. I'm
going to host my butt off. I'm gonna give it everything that I got, man.
Social post for
this is the lobby for it all. But they gotta win the championship first, man. More work to be done. But we're almost out of time for this episode of Straight Facts. It was a great one where you can get some shots up at the buzzer, as we always do. Does someone got something to say at the buzzer?
I just want to shout out in the Women's Champions League in soccer, there was the biggest crowd to ever go to a women's soccer game. 91,000 people watched Barcelona play Real Madrid in the Champions League quarterfinals. Barcelona won to advance to the semis. And that's such a great sign for the growth of the sport because it's not just America where it's getting big. 91,000 people saw El Clasico in Camp Nou. Mm-hmm. Earlier this season, 86,000 people went to El Clasico for the men's. Mm. I think that's because ticket prices might have been different. But still.
But we want to give the props, though.
10 years ago, they could have been free. They would have gotten 10,000 people in there. So we love seeing the growth of the game because it's just going to make the sport better in the long run.
Go. Stat Man with the soccer update. We absolutely love it. And a good message behind it this time. I stand by it. You guys got something to say at the buzzer?
Yeah, I think Jake.
I will say all this is like to all the people who are like grew up playing a ton of video games. I've been hitting the gym recently, and I started to notice my entire life I have leaned on my left shoulder to play video games. I look up at the screen like this, lean on the left shoulder. And when I'm looking in the mirror, at the gym, I'm like, yo, what's going on? My entire left shoulder is like half an inch lower.
Yeah, that's called posture, Jake.
But it's only the shoulder.
Think that's
it's
why?
Not like, no, it's definitely posture. But like, I remember it clicked into my mind. One of my friends had mentioned he had like a similar issue for similar reasons. And maybe I'm just going hypochondriac, but like, my stuff's really messed up because of the way I played video games all my life. So now that's my new goal. That, and I don't think I'm committing to it yet, but ATG, knee over toes guy, I'm dunking in like 2 years. We're repairing the knees, dude. One day, I don't know when it's going to be. We're going to start back up the path. No knee pain.
I love you, buddy. So anyone who doesn't know, Jake got no ACLs.
None.
Jake got tore both of them. So it would be a very DeJuan Blair-esque situation.
Crazy.
For him
you
to
see
come
me
back
dunking a basketball, you better run. That means I'm on my Bezos world conquering level if I could dunk a basketball.
I had my year and a half when I thought I could. I was in the best shape of my life.
Kyle, we'll do the program together.
I was grabbing rim. I was grabbing rim easy, and I'm like, that's only like 5 more inches I need. It's tough to get.
Yeah. No, I know it's hard. It's hard road to toe.
Kyle,
I got like 6 inches on you.
You got something to say at the buzzer?
No, dude, I don't even have time to think anymore. I wish, I wish I had stuff, but I'm just working.
You have a week to think of it, actually.
I'm just working and doing sports. I got nothing to say at the buzzer, man.
There you go. I hear you. Here's all I'm going to say. Phillies fans, they're doing it to us again. They're doing it to us again.
Them being?
The Phillies.
The Philadelphia
Phillies are doing it to us again. We were all ready to jump ship. We're all ready to give up on them. Then they go and make the moves that we're all asking them to make, and they go and get some great help in their lineup, Nick Castellanos and Kyle Schwarber. And then all three of them are producing. They're all hitting home runs in spring training. It's all looking great right now. And I can almost guarantee we start the season with the Oakland A's at home in a 3-game series. We'll probably sweep them in dominant fashion. Everyone will get, employed in the Phillies. They'll be the hottest team in the first month of the baseball season. Oh, yeah, it'll be crazy. Then June will hit. Then July will hit. And then they'll tank, and then magically we'll look up in August. We'll be fighting for our life in the NL East. And who knows if we'll make the playoffs. But all I got to say is, I feel myself going down the same path of hurt that I've gone down for the past 2 or 3 years. And I told myself I wasn't going to do it. And guys, for some reason, I'm about to charge straight ahead in that path. I don't know if anybody else is with me, but I'm about to do it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I just love the route they took where, the past 3 years, it's been this team needs pitching and they can compete. This team needs pitching and they compete. Well, how about we're just going to hit?
Yeah, we're going to mangle everything.
Screw pitching. Yeah. We're going to give up 10 runs. We don't care. We're just going to hit everything. We're going to bring in all
Give up 10, that's fine. Score 11. That's the mantra.
It's so funny the route they've taken on this. And, this is what I don't understand either. The number one prospect in the Phillies organization is a pitcher. We haven't given, any prospect shots over this stretch in the past 3 years. Mm-hmm. And, I know he's a little young. I forget his name, which is bad of me. But, let's try to give some guys shots this year, because I think now that we actually do have a team, we're going to be able to hit. We're going to win baseball games.
No, I only need you out there if you prove it. I don't want experiments out there. I need you out there if you prove it to me.
Aaron Nola aside, they just do not produce.
Stott's the 2 prospect, and Stott's going to play this year.
No,
we'll see.
It's a
long season to find these things out.
Can I give a quick PSA?
Of course.
Friday is April Fool's Day. It's the most dangerous day of the year to be a sports fan on Twitter.
Oh,
Just be careful out there.
Ballsack Sports, but they about to have a crazy one. All right, we'll end it right there. This is all the time we have for this episode of Straight Facts Podcast. It was a good one. Shout out to the Up On Game Network for all they do for us. And shout out to my guys, man. Love we're all in studio. Jake Galley, Kyle Sierick, Stat Matt Robinson. I'm James Jackson. These have been the facts.
Straight up.